Hello, welcome to the News Broadcast Daily, and these are following headlines for today.
A meeting was held in Hanoi on July 18 to mark the 50th anniversary of Vietnam-Laos diplomatic ties. Laos Vice President Binh Thuan is paying an official visit to Vietnam from July 17 to 20. Vietnam-Sri Lanka agreed on the target of $1 billion in two-way trade value by 2015.
A meeting was held in Hanoi on July 18th to mark the 50th anniversary of Vietnam-Laos diplomatic ties and the 35 years since the signing of the Vietnam-Laos Friendship and Cooperation Treaty.
The event was attended by Vietnam's top leaders, including Party General Secretary Nguyễn Tan Dung, President Truong Tan Sang, Prime Minister Nguyen Tan Dung, and National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng. On the Laos side, there was Vice President Binh Thuan, who is leading a high-level delegation of the Lao Party and State on a visit to Vietnam. On addressing the event, both Party General Secretary Nguyễn Tan Dung and Lao Vice President Binh Thuan highlighted the time-honored close relationship between the two neighboring countries. Since Vietnam and Laos first established diplomatic ties 50 years ago, their relations have increasingly deepened, they said. The people of both countries have supported each other in the struggle for national independence, as well as the cause of national construction and development. The leaders affirmed that during the current period of development, bilateral relations have developed in many areas, bringing about positive outcomes for both countries and contributing to peace, friendship, cooperation, and development in the region.
Lao Vice President Binh Thuan is paying an official visit to Vietnam from July 17th to 20th at the invitation of Vice President Nguyen Tan Dung. During their talks on July 17th, the two vice presidents agreed to further consolidate and strengthen the traditional friendship, solidarity, and comprehensive cooperation between the two countries.
The two sides agreed to continue increasing high-ranking visits and exchanges and promoting cooperation at the state, local, and business levels. They said the two countries' ministries, departments, and localities have conducted close and effective cooperation. Both nations have also actively worked to boost cooperation in defense and security along the common borders, contributing to building border areas of peace, stability, and development. The two leaders pledged to create favorable conditions to step up progress and quality of projects in trade, investment, transport, agriculture, hydropower, and mining towards bringing two-way trade to $2 billion by 2015. The two nations will also accelerate cooperation in education, healthcare, agriculture and rural development, infrastructure, tourism, culture, and post and telecommunication. The Laos Vice President was received by National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng on July 18th, who praised the outcomes of the talks between Binh Thuan and his Vietnamese counterpart Nguyễn Thị Doan on July 17th. Hùng said this would contribute to consolidating cooperation between the two parties and states in all areas, thus boosting solidarity between the two peoples. Thuan used the occasion to thank the party, state, and people of Vietnam for supporting Laos during its struggle for national independence, as well as the cause of national construction and development. He said he was delighted to visit Vietnam to attend celebrations of the 50th anniversary of Vietnam-Laos diplomatic ties and the 35 years since the signing of the Vietnam-Laos Friendship and Cooperation Treaty.
Lao Prime Minister Thong Sin Thamavong hosted the reception for Politburo member of the Communist Party of Vietnam Central Committee Lê Hồng Anh in Vientiane on July 17th. Mr. Anh is in Laos to attend activities marking the major anniversaries of the two countries.
Prime Minister Thong Sin Thamavong said difficulties in the world situation are posing many challenges to the process of the socialist construction in Vietnam and Laos. Therefore, the Vietnam-Laos friendship and comprehensive cooperation should be further promoted to ensure the two countries' sustainable development. For his part, Lê Hồng Anh congratulated Laos on its great achievements in all fields that the country gained after 1 year of implementation of the resolution of the Lao Party's 9th Congress and the 7th Five-Year Socio-Economic Development Plan. Anh affirmed that Vietnam will do its utmost to work together with Laos to maintain and promote the traditional friendship, special solidarity, and comprehensive cooperation between the two parties, states, and peoples to a new height. On the same day, the Vietnamese delegation participated in the opening ceremony of the Vietnamese Cultural Week in Laos and an exhibition of photos, artifacts, and documents on the two countries' special relations.
The Vietnam-Sri Lankan Joint Committee on Economic, Scientific and Technological Cooperation convened the third session in Hanoi on July 17th. Vietnamese Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh and his Sri Lankan counterpart, Gavini Lakshman-Paris, presided over the meeting.
The two sides reviewed the implementation of agreements inked at the previous session and shared their viewpoints on regional and international issues of mutual concern. They expressed their pleasure at the strong growth in trade and economic ties and agreed on the target of $1 billion in two-way trade value by 2015. The two sides will also further enhance cooperation in security and national defense, agriculture, fisheries, tourism, aviation, and culture. The two sides said the contents approved at the meeting will create important foundations for the two countries to further develop their traditional friendship and multifaceted cooperation. The fourth session of the Vietnam-Sri Lanka Joint Committee on Economic, Scientific and Technological Cooperation is scheduled to be held in Sri Lanka in 2014. After the session, the two foreign ministers witnessed the signing of an agreement on air transport services between the two countries. At a reception for the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister on July 18th, Prime Minister Nguyen Tan Dung affirmed that Vietnam wishes to step up its practical and effective cooperation with Sri Lanka. Dung suggested that both governments make more effort to realize agreements reached by the leaders of both countries. For his part, Minister Paris said he hoped the Vietnamese government would create the best possible conditions for Sri Lankan businesses operating in Vietnam, as well as speed up joint business and investment projects between both countries. The Foreign Minister stated that Sri Lanka, as one of the co-founders of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, supports the principles of ensuring maritime security and the peaceful settlement of disputes in the East Sea on the basis of international law, especially the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade will continue with its credit policies and trade promotions to raise the volume of the country's exports in the last 6 months of this year.
Statistics released by the General Department of Customs show that the country's export turnover in the first 6 months exceeded $53 billion, up by nearly 23% over the same period last year. This is seen as a positive sign for Vietnam's economy, considering the level of global economic uncertainty. However, a number of core export items, such as coffee, rubber, cashew nuts, and rice, have had to deal with falling prices throughout the first 6 months. The decreasing prices, along with instability in the country's main import markets, especially China, plus various technical barriers, have blunted the competitive edge of many Vietnamese businesses. Many businesses are taking a tremendous risk when they purchase input materials and other commodities at high prices, but are forced to sell the finished product at a lower price than normal. Regarding access to low interest rates, representatives from the Ministry of Industry and Trade and the State Bank of Vietnam said that interest rates will continue to drop. The Ministry of Industry and Trade will also seek measures to deal with difficulties regarding tax management and the refunding of value-added tax for businesses. In addition, the ministry has put forward its own strategy to reach its export turnover targets for this year. Over the next 6 months, we will continue to focus on the Asian-Pacific region, which accounts for half of our country's export value. China also has a huge demand for Vietnamese agroforestry and aquatic products, and we are looking at ways of putting more industrial products onto this market. At the same time, we have introduced policies to maintain exports to the European Union. Along with taking more macroeconomic measures, the Ministry will enhance credit guarantee schemes for small and medium-sized enterprises and work with associations to improve the competitiveness of domestic businesses. With these clear and integrated solutions, the country's exports are expected to boom in the last 6 months of this year.
And that comes to the end of the news today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.